Hello, welcome to the Cozy Anime Review Show. I'm your host today, Adaminator, and we are reviewing, Girlfriend, a show that exists. I've watched both seasons, and I am joined by Cosa. How you doing, Cosa?
I'm doing all right. I've only seen one episode.
That is perfectly fine. I don't want to subject too many people to this show. It's just weird. like, we've already done a couple of episodes. We've done Angel Beats and Assassination Classroom. We got a few that people wanted to do and they're lined up. But all the shows that people wanted to do are really good and positive and yeah. But we need to throw in some crap. We have to, because there's a lot of crap in anime. You can say so, right?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot that I've watched that are either now guilty pleasures or I just straight up regret watching them.
Yeah, I mean, guilty pleasures are one thing. I don't mind. There are certain shows that are like, oh, if you watch this, you're a terrible person. But no, if the story's good, then I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Where I draw the line is certain themes, which Girlfriend has some. Under this show, there is a decent plot. There is, but it's just marred by just so much crap.
I mean, that's how a lot of the anime that fall into that category are. Is where it's a good plot, and from the one episode that I saw, I can agree. It's probably got an interesting,
Yeah, so you only watched the first episode of season 1, right?
Right.
Which was the setup episode.
Right.
And we actually watched that together because I said, I wanted to review the show. I said, right, I'm going to subject you to at least the first episode.
You did.
Needless to say, you thought it was an interesting idea, but no, I'm not something you'd want to watch.
I mean, I would watch it. It's just, it's interesting. That's I mean,
that's probably the kindest word we'll ever use to describe the show.
Exactly.
I'm going to stay up front. There is a content warning. We will be talking about certain themes. There's a lot of typical tropes, which are played off for comedy. Which in other shows do it fine. Mostly when you get these sort of shows, it's labelled as comedies, slice of life. This one's not labelled as an ecchi show, but it very much is. And that's very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
I should set up right from the beginning, my opinion on the whole thing, and it's fair to have your opinion on this as well. When it comes to anime, if you're gonna show nudity, most anime tends not to show anything, let's say too vulgar. At most, you get curves, and I feel like that's fine if you're going for a joke, because ultimately, that whole subject can be quite funny. And thankfully, Girlfriend does do this. They don't show anything too much. My main concern with Girlfriend is that these people are first year high school students, so around 16, I guess.
Yep.
Which, I can kind of look past it if the story's good, but this story's not good, and I can't really look past it. So that's kind of one of my big hang-ups with this show, is that there is not gratuitous nudity. It's not massively in your face, but there are a couple of episodes where it's this was not needed. There's one episode in season 2 where the main set. We should actually talk about the actual setup of the show. So the setup of the show is that you have. I'm gonna get character names up here. Oh my god, what is the name of the main character? Naoya. Mukai Naya. He is the main guy. And he is already dating a girl who is referred to as Saki Saki. I don't know what her proper name is. That could be a proper name. That's what it is on the wiki. He's already dating this girl. He's confessed to her that he likes her basically since elementary school, and when they got into high school, they actually started dating. He is then confessed to by another girl called Minase Nagisa, who also says that she likes him. And then, because he doesn't have the heart to cheat on his current girlfriend, but doesn't also want to completely reject this girl, he brings the new girl to his current girl and asks if he can have a three-way relationship with both of them.
Yep.
Which is wild.
It's yeah.
If people are into polygamy, then fair enough, by all means. But don't spring this on people.
I mean, I'll say. I mean, at the very least, I can say the man is braver than I ever could be.
Brave or stupid?
A little bit of both.
I would argue very stupid. Like there's three main traits of this guy. He yells a lot. He is way too honest for his own good, and he is stupid. Like that's actually one thing that's quite nice about this guy is that he doesn't lie. He doesn't lie. He has never lied in the show, even as a detriment. I think the only time he ever lies is if it's to protect the people that the two girls that he's dating. But then you introduce two other girls, one of which is very blatant about liking him. It's a girl called Hoshizaki Rika, and she is quite possibly the worst character in this entire show. And then they have a fourth girl who called Kiryu Shino, who she's the friend of Saki, who also likes him, but is trying to get rid of all of her getting rid of all of her feelings for him because she feels bad that she likes her friend's boyfriend. And God, it's just there's so much with this show that could have been great, but they just ruin it. Like this string of 6 episodes where Rika, like the only thing she does is harass the group in order to try and steal the guy away from the two of them. And it's really annoying.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, even just from that first episode, it was just like I mean, the first episode I've only really gotten a strong impression of like the main guy, and like he's so persistent. Like
it's very in your face, isn't it?
Yeah. Like she says like no initially, and he's like, okay, well, what if I do this? What can I do to make you say yes?
Like they offer food and money.
Like I'll say that man would make a fantastic salesman with how persistent he is.
Oh my god, he would, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd make a terrible husband though.
Oh yeah. Horrible husband, fantastic businessman.
Oh god. Yeah, there's just a lot. I'm really scared to get into it because it's like, if I'm ever like, if people ever need proof of Adaminator being a terrible person, they're gonna come back to this episode. But like, okay, so there is one episode where Rika fakes a competition for Saki, saying like, "Oh, they won a trip to the mountains to go camping." Okay, cool. Rika brings her younger sister along, who thankfully isn't looted. Oh my god, the show could have looted her, and I'm so fucking glad they didn't.
I mean, considering the age of the characters already.
Yeah.
I mean, you said younger sisters, so.
Well, I think the sister's supposed to be in like middle school or something, but like the most they do with her is they put her in like cute costumes, but they don't loot her. Thank fuck.
God.
But Rika, what she ends up doing is like she already has a precedent of drugging the main guy. She's already drugged him at one point.
Gotcha.
You're not even surprised by that.
Not really, considering like the kind of tone that was set in the first. Yeah, okay, that seems like a reasonable. I mean, it's not reasonable, but like for those characters, that seems like a reasonable.
I can't even remember why she drugged him. She drugged him for something. I think just to get him away from the other two girls, but like whatever. But she faked this whole camping thing. She turned up at the campsite with the other people. It's like, oh, you happen to be here, like up in the fucking mountains. What a coincidence! Like, fuck you.
Right.
And because she's already drugged him in the past, like she's cooking all this food, and it's like, you've drugged this food, haven't you? It's like, no, I haven't drugged this pizza. I've made this pizza for you guys, and she proves it, and she actually eats the pizza. I was like, all right. And she feeds the rest of them with the other food. And after a while, all of them fall unconscious, because the only thing she hasn't drugged was that first pizza.
Right.
Which included her own sister. She didn't even tell her sister that the food was drugged.
It's a little wild, actually.
That's insane to me. Thankfully,
like, that was the innocent bystander here, so...
She didn't do anything like to the sister or any of the girls. All she did was move them into the tents. But she took the guy far into the forest, handcuffed him to a tree, and basically said, "We're not leaving here until you fall in love with me." It's like, what the fuck?
That... You know... If it weren't for like some of the stories and shows I've been seeing lately, that would surprise me more. That is still insane. That's not like. Honestly, I think even like Gasai had a better method of making people fall in love.
I mean, like, but the insane thing is, it's like they threatened to call the police on her. Because rightfully fucking so, don't drug people. Right. But it's all played off for laughs. It's like, haha, you drugged me. Oh, silly Rika. It's like, no, don't drug people.
You know, that like the only reason that I'm not like, wow, that's kind of insane that they're playing that off is like that. I've seen that in a couple other shows before, where it's like they just laugh it off in like some slice of life shows, and it's so weird. Like that's not just a day-to-day thing. It's not like, you drugged me with this pizza. Like no, that's a case. That's a case.
No, yeah, no. Like she fully deserves to have like the authorities after her.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole case with Shino as well. So Rika fucking fails in getting him to fall in love. Rika is the first person to realize that Shino actually likes Naoya.
Mm-hmm.
And so they end up going to Okinawa for a couple nights. And Rika ends up manipulating Shino into helping her get some alone time with Naoya. Which, fucking, that doesn't surprise me either, because Rika is a nasty person.
Mm-hmm.
But what ends up happening is that Shino ends up really humiliating herself just to stop things happening. So Naoya wants to spend the first day with redhead girl Saki, specifically so he can kiss her, because even though they've been dating at this point, like the entire series is over about 3 or 4 months.
Right, and that was something I don't know. I remember if they established that in the first episode, how long they'd been dating before that point.
I think at that point they had only been dating for about a month.
Okay.
So he had spent all of his childhood with the childhood friends. So they met in elementary school, and once a month, every month for the past however long years he's been with her, he's confessed his love for him. And it wasn't until high school where he said, "If I get into high school, will you go out with me?" It's like, just do whatever the fuck you want. And they get into high school, Saki realizes that she does actually like him, and they start dating. They've only been dating for a month. And that's when Nagisa comes in. So they hadn't done anything, they hadn't been intimate, they hadn't even kissed at that point.
I remember that being a thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they were using the holiday as an excuse to, kiss. But they're just about to head off and have some alone time. Shino, in a desperate move to stop them from leaving the beach, runs into the water, throws her bikini top into the sea, and starts screaming that she lost a bikini top.
Oops.
Which, like, if it was any other show, it'd be funny. Like, that is funny. And I don't even mind the fact that they are high school students. Like, that, I don't mind it as long as they don't show anything too vulgar. But this leads to them to end up getting closer. Like, they end up getting washed away, and they end up on an uninhabited island. For the night, and it's too dark to swim back, and like they're freezing. Like she in particular is freezing cold. She's starting to get ill, and so while he's trying to set up a fire, he tells her to strip out of her wet bikini so she can not be in wet clothes. Which I understand, but was it really necessary?
Yeah, you've got like half a brain firing off there. Cause it's like, okay, like one half of the logic is fine, right? Like, okay, we don't need you to be in like wet clothes so you don't get sick. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. But you're missing the other half of your brain that says, all right, here, let's get you some new stuff.
Well, they don't have new stuff, so they could make the argument like, oh, well, there's palm trees there. He's got these big fronds. Use them as temporary cover, which that I could understand.
Right.
But they don't do that.
Right.
They do establish there are coconut trees. They had all bits like, oh, there's some coconuts here.
Right. But they're just leaving it off as like, no, just get out of these.
Yeah.
Which,
and it's while she's in this very, very vulnerable state that she admits that she likes him, falls on top of him, and then kisses him.
It's like something out of like High School DX, or no, what is it?
High School DxD. Yeah, no. This isn't straight. This isn't another anime. This just feels like another like adult animated setup. This wouldn't be out of place on the hub.
It probably wouldn't.
You must have seen like it's like there's a classic setup on the hub, which is it made it into meme territory. Is there's a guy in the bathtub, and the woman
this isn't a beach. Yeah,
the woman is the lifeguard for a bathtub. It's like it's not a beach; it's a bathtub. It's like,
yeah, that's all over the place.
It's a better setup than that, which is insane because it's just it's an anime. This was on TV. Oh god, it's what makes me laugh about this whole show is the fact that it exists. God, and that's not even like that's one of the milder things that happens as well.
It's kind of weird that like all this stuff happens because yeah, you showed me like a snippet of like or like a screenshot from one episode, like I
Yeah,
guess that you had up, and then you showed me like the first episode, and like the art style's cute. It's
it's
just
really
like
good.
yeah,
Like,
it's just unassuming art style.
what's wild about the show is that it wouldn't be out of place for a show from maybe the late 2000s, around like the Love Hina Shuffle sort of era.
Mm-hmm.
But this show came out last year.
Right.
Season 2 ended last year. It's like, I hope this show doesn't get a season 3. I don't want to get a season 3 because then I'm obligated to watch it.
Depends on what the numbers end up being.
Oh god, it's a terrible setup. From what I've heard, the manga isn't that much further along, so it might not even get a season 3.
Well, it sounds more like it'll get a season 3, but not for quite some time.
Oh god, it's just, there are so many shows out there. Like, there's so much crap, and for all the crap to get through, this is one of them.
Like, it's funny because, like, you got a bunch of anime out there that could and should get season 2s. Like,
Yeah.
there was something I think I mentioned to you the last time we talked, was a show called Maoyu. That show has
Right.
only one season, and I'd like, it left off on a cliffhanger, like a little bit of a
Oh
cliffhanger.
no!
Like, yeah, that should get a season 2. It hasn't, it probably won't. But it's like, it's funny that, like, stuff like this gets multiple seasons, but stuff like that probably should get multiple
Yeah.
seasons does not get multiple seasons.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm I'm not completely against the idea of like edgy shows. It's just that if you're watching an edgy show to be aroused, you're not watching it for the right reasons, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted to be aroused by something, go to the Hub or go to those sort of websites. But if you want a story that just so happens to have edgy elements, that's what your anime should be. So things like High School DxD does have a lot of titillation in it, but it uses it in the plot. One of my favourite examples is Shimoneta. So, have you heard about this show?
Yeah. I've heard of that one.
So, for anyone that doesn't know, Shimoneta is the setup is that Japan has outlawed sex in like educational sense. So they banned adult material. If you even think dirty words, like they have these armbands on that will alert the authorities. It's a weird future, but it means that you end up with a generation of kids who didn't grow up with anything like that, and that's where the main characters are. Like they are the first generation that never saw any of this material, and you see like the side effects of how people, when they're finally first exposed to it, how they are treated, how they treat it, which includes like one of the characters, which, you know, I might end up making this its own episode, but the point is that Shimoneta is a show that is set in high school, has ecchi elements, and is explicitly about like lewd material, but it uses it in the plot in a very, very clever way, in the sense that if you don't get the right education, you're going to end up with a lot of messed up people. Girlfriend is not that. It doesn't need all of the edgy elements. It can have them if it serves the plot, but there's a lot of times where it just feels a bit gratuitous.
Yeah.
And there are other shows that do it well. Take Toradora. Same setup of like people like each other, but there's no ecchi elements in it because it doesn't need it. Or you take a show like Interspecies Reviewer, which I will wholeheartedly say it's a fantastic show.
Heard, yeah.
But it is about ecchi elements. It's about lewd elements. All of the characters are 18 plus. There is one episode which, is very uncomfortable, but, we won't go into that here. The point is that it needs to serve the purpose, and Girlfriend doesn't do that. But I think even aside from like the lewd elements, the show was just annoying. Like yelling all the time. Like even you saw it in like the first episode, right?
Yeah, no, it was like man was like shouting a good amount of the time.
This boy speaks in 3 exclamation marks.
At least.
Like there's never a moment where he's like, there's no internal thoughts. All of his thoughts are external. He's constantly yelling. He is constantly shouting at people. And the only thing that people could do is shout back because they're just trying to keep up with it. They're trying to keep up the energy. Which,
yeah.
It's just like people complained about that with God, what was the show? Is it Black Clover?
Yeah.
Like the main character in that shouted all the time. They made a point of that. And then Girlfriend just saw that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean you could even say that about a lot of like early 2000s like dubbed anime. But
like what?
Mainly Dragon Ball.
I mean, yeah, Dragon Ball was like, in all fairness, you're speaking at people across like a ravine or across like vast distances. Of course, you have to yell because that's the only way they can hear you. But this boy is 1 or 2 desks away from someone. It's like, hey, do you want a drink? It's like, oh god, this show has broken me. The show, I wanted to like it. There is a good show under here, but it's marred by terrible writing, terrible direction. The music's awful as well. I hate the music. Like we made a point of this. There's one of the songs that sounds like it's gonna go into One Winged Angel.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like the first like 2 chords were just the first chords from One Winged Angel.
But it's only ever used for like the dramatic moment as well. So it's like, is Sephiroth gonna come down? Like,
right.
Is he gonna get naked? It's like, what the fuck? Now that would make it a lot more interesting show if he turned up, and said, I want to be Nalia's girlfriend as well.
Right.
Oh god. I feel like I'll probably end this recording here.
It's just an insane show. Like even from that first episode, and like you mentioning that there were 2 seasons of this.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons.
Ay.
There's so many shows that deserve a second season.
Yeah, but this gets one.
This one gets a second season. Like I'd love to see another season of Kaiji. There were 2 seasons of that. But, the second season ended a bit of that Kaiji moment. It's like...
Oh, okay.
Kind of wish I got another one out of that. There's a lot of... Yeah, I'm just going to end the recording. I'm done. I need to go... Like, I'm going to go to this vending machine, grab a cup, like, all of the water. Would you like some water, Cosa?
Yeah, I'd like some, though I also think now you might need some, as well as just everybody in that show.
I mean, there's a lot of thirsty people in that show. Right, I'm going to go to the vending machine, I'm going to grab a couple drinks, and I'm going to end the show. That's it, we're done. Take care, everyone.
Yep, take care.